When I was a young Christian, if things went bad, I automatically examined my own life for sin. If anything happened, I would go, that must be because of sin. So if I had a flat tyre, or if I had an accident at work, I cut myself one time, I think must have been sin. Even to the point of if I went fishing and didn't catch any fish, I would start to look at my life and go, I must have messed up somewhere and this must be punishment from God. My view of God was that he loved me, but I was a bit of a disappointment to him. And that he was always looking to punish me for my mistakes. My theology impacted the way I saw the world. Well, that's true for all of us. We all look through types of lenses to make sense of the world. So today's sermon is called Our Theology, Our Worldview, and Making Sense of the Coronavirus. If I held to my previous picture of God, which I don't, by the way, I would see the coronavirus as punishment. And so I would ask the question, who sinned? And who's to blame for this? Because this is obviously punishment from God. Other people see that Jesus dying on the cross, that he died for all sickness and all sin. They would see all sickness as coming from Satan. So their perception or their understanding or theology of God would cause them to see the coronavirus as a satanic attack that we should stand against and pray against. And the question here becomes, well, how much prayer do we need before God will actually act? Or why didn't God protect us if it was actually an attack from Satan? Or how did this get past God without him noticing? Other people, their view of God, they believe in a God that started kind of things off, but he's not involved in the small details of life, that he's not interested in the minute areas, just the big issues. And so they would say that God's just not interested, it's happening and it'll run its course no matter what. Therefore, we need to take coronavirus as something out of God's interest or out of his sphere of influence. Now, whilst in each of these there are some small elements of truth, I think all of these are insufficient answers and responses to this present situation. But there is the truth that our worldview, our theology, causes us to assess this situation. So let's have a look at our own theology and see how this impacts us. There are three key words that we talk about when we talk about our theology of God. One is called omnipresent, one is called omniscient, and one is called omnipotent. Omnipresent says God is always there. He's everywhere, all at once. Omniscient says that God is all-knowing. He knows everything. And omnipotent or omnipotent means that God is all-powerful. So if God knows everything, then the coronavirus is not a surprise to him. He could see this coming. We recently studied the book of Ephesians, and in that we discovered, particularly in chapter 1, that God is incredibly intentional and he is incredibly patient and structured in seeing his plans work out, plans to bless the world through Jesus Christ. And that he did that before the foundation of the world. So let's put some of this together. If we believe that God knows all things, if we believe that God is actually at work and active before these things happen, and that he wants the best for us, then I want to suggest a really important question for us to think through is, in what ways can we identify that God has been active in preparing us for this present COVID-19 crisis? I'll read it again because I'm going to stop the video here and get you to discuss that. In what ways can we identify that God has been active and preparing us for this present COVID-19 crisis. We're going to stop the video now. In fact, we're going to end it, I think, here and get you to discuss that question.